There's a certain kind of peace that comes with crafting, especially when we reach the later chapters of our lives. For many of us, our days used to be filled with schedules, responsibilities, and the constant rush of work and family obligations. But as time slows down, crafting steps in as a gentle companion. It gives us something to look forward to, a reason to sit down with purpose, and an activity that nourishes both the hands and the heart. The beauty of crafting is that it isn't about perfection, it's about expression. When I pick up a ball of yarn, a paintbrush, or even just some paper and glue, I feel free to create without pressure. The process itself is as rewarding as the final product. Sometimes the stitches aren't even, or the colors don't match perfectly, but there's joy in knowing that it's mine. Each imperfection tells a story, much like the wrinkles on our faces or the paths our lives have taken. Crafting also awakens a sense of curiosity that we thought might have faded with age. Suddenly, we find ourselves experimenting with patterns, textures, or techniques we've never tried before. It's a reminder that we are still capable of learning, growing, and surprising ourselves. That spark of creativity keeps our minds alive and gives us a reason to keep exploring. Another special joy comes from the quiet reflection that crafting allows. As I knit or paint, memories often resurface. Moments with family, childhood adventures, or even lessons from long ago. Crafting creates a space where the past gently meets the present, and somehow, those threads of memory weave themselves into the project at hand. And perhaps the greatest gift of crafting in later life is the way it fills the soul with accomplishment. Holding a finished scarf, painting, or handmade card brings a kind of pride that's deeply personal. It doesn't matter if it's simple or grand, it's something we've made with our own hands, proof that creativity doesn't age. In the end, crafting in later life isn't just about making things, it's about finding joy, peace, and meaning in the everyday. It's a reminder that even as the years pass, our ability to create beauty remains as strong as ever. When starting out with crafting or DIY in later life, the key is to keep things simple. The first step isn't about creating something grand, it's about building confidence and rediscovering the joy of making with your own hands. I've found that even the smallest projects, like decorating a plain picture frame or knitting a dishcloth, can bring an incredible sense of accomplishment. These little wins remind us that creativity doesn't have to be complicated to be meaningful. Many seniors hesitate at first because they think crafting requires artistic talent or years of practice. But the truth is, some of the most enjoyable projects are the easiest ones. Making a homemade greeting card, painting a flower pot, or sewing a simple tote bag are not only achievable but also practical. Every finished piece feels like a personal victory, a way of proving to ourselves that we're still capable of learning and creating. There's also something special about starting small because it takes away the pressure of perfection. If a stitch isn't quite right or a color comes out different than expected, it doesn't matter. Instead, we celebrate the process. Each project is like a stepping stone, gently guiding us toward bigger and more challenging creations if we choose to take that path. And if we don't, that's perfectly fine too. The joy is in the journey. I remember my first attempt at woodcraft. It was nothing more than a simple birdhouse made with pre-cut pieces. My hands weren't as steady as they once were, and I made a few mistakes along the way. But when I hung that birdhouse outside and saw a little sparrow take interest, the sense of pride was immeasurable. It wasn't about the birdhouse itself, it was about proving to myself that I could still take on something new and see it through. Simple projects also make wonderful gifts. Imagine the joy of giving someone a handmade scarf or a painted rock with an uplifting message. These small acts of creativity carry far more heart than anything bought in a store. And each time someone smiles at a gift we've made, our confidence grows even more. What makes these projects truly empowering is that they remind us age is not a barrier to creativity. Every time we pick up a new craft, we're reinforcing the belief that we can still start fresh, still learn, and still create beauty. That sense of confidence doesn't just stay in the craft room. It carries into everyday life, helping us approach new challenges with courage and curiosity. Crafting becomes even more rewarding when what we create can be used in our daily lives. Functional DIY projects give us not only the satisfaction of creativity but also the practicality of items that make everyday living easier. At this stage of life, many of us want our efforts to serve a purpose, and that's exactly what functional crafting offers. One simple example is making storage baskets from old magazines or fabric scraps. These baskets not only look charming but also help keep small items organized. When I see one sitting on my shelf, I feel both proud of the creativity and thankful for the extra bit of order it brings to my home. It's a project that's as useful as it is beautiful. Another popular choice for seniors is crafting kitchen helpers. Things like handmade pot holders, reusable grocery bags, or spice jar labels can make cooking and shopping more enjoyable. They might seem small, but having items you've created yourself brings a sense of independence and comfort every time you use them. Woodworking, even at a beginner level, offers many functional project options. A simple footrest, a walking stick, or a small stool can be crafted with just a few tools and some guidance. These aren't just objects. They're daily companions that remind you of your ability to create and solve practical needs. Functional projects can also focus on comfort. Sewing or knitting lap blankets, armrest covers, or cushion slips can make sitting and resting more pleasant. For those of us who spend more time at home, these handmade touches bring warmth to our space while also giving us a sense of accomplishment. One of my favorite functional DIY ideas is crafting organizers for everyday items. For instance, making a jewelry tray from an old picture frame, or turning mason jars into a desk organizer. These small creations not only reduce clutter but also make the home feel more personalized. Every time I reach for my glasses or pens, I smile at the little reminder of my handiwork. Functional crafting also connects us to the tradition of making do. Many of us grew up in times when fixing and repurposing was part of daily life. Turning old t-shirts into cleaning rags or broken chairs into plant stands is a way of honoring that resourcefulness while staying creative. It's a blend of nostalgia and practicality. These projects don't just help us. They often become conversation starters. When friends or family visit and notice a handmade coat rack or a quilted table runner, they ask about it. That opens the door to sharing stories, memories, and even inspiring others to try crafting themselves. Another benefit of functional DIY is that it saves money while adding value to everyday life. Instead of buying storage bins, shelves, or decorative items, we can make our own. It's a satisfying feeling to know that something both useful and beautiful came from our own effort rather than a store shelf. Ultimately, functional creations remind us that crafting is not only about passing the time, it's about shaping the environment we live in. Each handmade item becomes part of our daily routine, blending creativity with necessity. And every time we use those items, we're reminded that our skills and imagination are still making life better, one project at a time. Crafting is often seen as a quiet, solitary pastime, but in reality, it can be one of the most joyful social activities we have in our later years. There's something special about gathering with friends, neighbors, or family around a table full of supplies, sharing laughter, stories, and creativity as our hands stay busy. It reminds me of old quilting circles, where community was stitched into every piece. When we craft together, the projects take on a deeper meaning. A simple beading session with friends can turn into an afternoon of reminiscing about childhood memories, travels, or even life's funny mistakes. The craft becomes a background to the conversation, making it easier to open up and connect. In many ways, the activity creates a space where relationships flourish. Grandchildren especially love joining in. Kids have a natural curiosity, and when they see a grandparent painting, knitting, or building, they want to be part of it. These shared projects not only create tangible keepsakes but also build lasting memories. Years later, a grandchild may remember more about the afternoons spent making birdhouses with grandpa than any toy they received. Crafting in groups also encourages us to learn from each other. One person might know how to crochet, while another has a knack for repurposing old jars. By sharing knowledge and tips, everyone grows. There's a wonderful sense of accomplishment in teaching someone else a skill and then watching them proudly complete their first project. Local senior centers, churches, and community halls often host craft groups. Joining one of these gatherings is a great way to meet new people and feel part of a community. Many seniors who struggle with loneliness find these craft sessions become a highlight of their week, giving them both companionship and a creative outlet. Even in today's digital age, crafting can still connect us socially. Online groups and video calls allow us to share projects, exchange ideas, and encourage each other no matter the distance. I've seen seniors proudly hold up their finished quilts or paintings over a video call, receiving applause from friends across the country. It's proof that creativity bridges gaps, even through a screen. Crafting as a social activity also helps with accountability and motivation. On our own, we might leave a project unfinished. But when we're part of a group, we're inspired to keep going, to bring something to the next meeting, and to share our progress. That little push can make all the difference in staying active and engaged. Another joy of crafting with others is the laughter. Mistakes become funny stories, and imperfections are celebrated rather than hidden. I remember spilling paint during a group session, and instead of embarrassment, it became the joke of the day. The atmosphere of acceptance and humor turns even small mishaps into cherished memories. The social side of crafting also strengthens family bonds. Making holiday decorations together or working on a family quilt brings generations together in a shared activity. These traditions often carry forward, leaving not just handmade items but also family stories woven into the fabric of memory. At its heart, crafting together is about connection. It's about turning simple projects into shared experiences that deepen our relationships. The finished items are wonderful, but the real treasure lies in the laughter, conversations, and sense of belonging that crafting as a social activity provides. Crafting is more than just a way to pass the time. It has real therapeutic benefits for the body and the mind. When our hands are busy and our imagination is engaged, something remarkable happens. Stress begins to melt away and a sense of calm takes its place. I often find that when I sit down to work on a project, the worries of the day seem to fade into the background. For many seniors, crafting helps improve dexterity and coordination. The simple act of threading a needle, painting a delicate line, or carefully gluing pieces together exercises the small muscles in our hands and fingers. Over time, these little movements can help maintain flexibility, making it easier to handle everyday tasks like buttoning a shirt or tying shoelaces. There's also a strong connection between crafting and brain health. Studies suggest that activities that engage both hands and the mind can help sharpen memory, improve focus, and even slow cognitive decline. Each time we follow a pattern, learn a new stitch, or plan out a project, we're giving our brains a gentle workout. It's like exercising the mind while enjoying ourselves. Emotionally, crafting can provide comfort during difficult times. Many people find that working with their hands helps ease feelings of sadness, loneliness, or anxiety. When we're creating something, our minds are focused on the present moment rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. That focus is a powerful form of meditation. There's also healing in the act of creating beauty, even if it's something simple. Painting a flower, knitting a colorful scarf, or arranging a scrapbook page gives us a sense of purpose and achievement. These little victories remind us that we are capable of adding joy and meaning to the world around us. Crafting can also boost self-esteem. Completing a project, no matter how small, leaves us with something tangible to hold and admire. It's proof of our effort and creativity. For seniors who sometimes struggle with feeling useful or valued, this sense of accomplishment can be deeply affirming. The therapeutic benefits extend to our hearts as well. When we craft for others, whether it's making a blanket for a grandchild or a card for a friend, we feel a renewed sense of connection and love. Knowing that our creativity can brighten someone else's day brings emotional fulfillment that no store-bought item can provide. Crafting has even been linked to lowering blood pressure and reducing feelings of restlessness. The repetitive nature of certain activities, like knitting or crocheting, has a soothing rhythm that helps calm the nervous system. For me, it feels much like listening to a lullaby, steady, reassuring, and peaceful. Group crafting can also be therapeutic. Sharing a project with others adds laughter, encouragement, and companionship, which are powerful healers on their own. The joy of crafting together combines physical benefits with emotional support, creating a well-rounded sense of wellness. Ultimately, the therapeutic power of crafting lies in its simplicity. It doesn't require expensive tools or advanced skills. All it takes is a willingness to create, and in return, it offers peace, healing, and strength. For seniors especially, hands-on projects are not just hobbies, they are medicine for the soul. In today's world, more and more of us are thinking about how our actions affect the planet. For seniors, crafting and DIY projects offer a wonderful way to live more sustainably while still enjoying creativity. Eco-friendly DIY isn't just about saving resources. It's about leaving a positive legacy and showing younger generations how small choices can make a big difference. One of the simplest eco-friendly projects is repurposing everyday items. Old glass jars can become charming candle holders, pencil cups, or even small planters for herbs. Each time I reuse a jar instead of throwing it away, I feel a quiet pride in knowing I've reduced waste while creating something useful and beautiful. Fabric scraps are another treasure waiting to be transformed. Leftover material from old clothes or curtains can be stitched into tote bags, quilts, or even patchwork pillows. These projects remind us of a time when nothing was wasted, when every piece of fabric found a new life. They also connect us to memories, since each patch might carry a story of where it came from. Wood scraps can be turned into functional items like birdhouses, shelves, or small stools. Not only does this prevent good material from being discarded, but it also brings joy to see new life in something others might consider useless. A wooden box made from leftover planks can hold keepsakes or even serve as a gift for a loved one. Eco-friendly crafting also encourages us to think creatively. Instead of buying new supplies, we look at what's already around us with fresh eyes. A chipped teacup becomes a succulent planter, an old sweater transforms into cozy mittens, and worn-out jeans can be cut into a sturdy apron. These transformations spark both imagination and satisfaction. Another benefit is teaching younger generations about sustainability. When grandchildren see us turning scraps into treasures, they learn that creativity doesn't have to come from a store. It's a lesson in resourcefulness that they'll carry with them, and perhaps one of the most valuable gifts we can pass on. Eco-friendly projects can also bring us closer to nature. Crafting bird feeders from recycled bottles or making compost bins from wood scraps connects us to the environment in meaningful ways. Watching birds gather at a feeder we made with our own hands is a reminder of how small actions can nurture life. These types of projects often save money as well. Instead of buying decorations or storage solutions, we can make our own. Crafting in this way gives us the double reward of being both cost-effective and environmentally kind. It's proof that sustainability doesn't have to come with sacrifice. It can come with joy and creativity. There's also a certain spiritual peace in eco-friendly crafting. It feels good to know that we're contributing positively to the world, no matter how small the gesture. It reminds us that even in our later years, our actions carry weight and meaning for the generations to come. In the end, eco-friendly DIY for seniors isn't just about reusing materials, it's about rethinking how we live, create, and share. Each project becomes a statement of care for the earth, a reminder that we can still shape the future with our hands, and a legacy of mindfulness for those who follow. Crafting has always been more than just making things. It's about passing down stories, traditions, and pieces of ourselves. When we create something with our own hands, it carries our spirit and becomes a part of our legacy. For seniors especially, crafting offers a way to leave behind something tangible that family and friends can hold on to long after we're gone. Handmade quilts are a beautiful example of this legacy. Each patch tells a story, perhaps from a favorite dress, an old curtain, or fabric bought on a special trip. When children and grandchildren wrap themselves in that quilt, they're also wrapping themselves in memories, love, and family history. It's a comfort that no store-bought blanket could ever provide. Paintings, sketches, or even simple doodles can also serve as a window into who we are. Long after our voice is quiet, the brush strokes and colors we chose will still speak for us. I've known families who treasure a single watercolor painted by a grandmother more than any expensive heirloom, because it carries her heart in every line. Woodworking projects have a similar lasting power. A handmade rocking chair, a toy carved for a grandchild, or a simple wooden box holds not just function but also a story. Each scratch, mark, or curve is a reminder of the hands that shaped it. These items often become family treasures, handed down from one generation to the next. Even the smallest crafts can carry great meaning. A knitted scarf, a handmade Christmas ornament, or a scrapbook filled with photos and notes may seem modest, but they are deeply personal. They remind loved ones of the moments we cherished and the care we put into making something just for them. Crafting also allows us to record traditions. For example, writing recipes into a handmade cookbook, decorating it with drawings or photos, becomes a legacy that combines both creativity and family heritage. Generations later, someone might still bake a pie using grandma's handwritten recipe, connecting them across time through food and love. The legacy of crafting isn't only in the finished products, it's also in the act of teaching. When we show a grandchild how to crochet, paint, or whittle wood, we're passing on skills and values. These lessons stay with them, becoming part of their own lives and perhaps something they'll teach to others in the future. There's also an emotional healing in creating a legacy through crafting. Knowing that what we make today will outlive us gives us peace. It feels like a way of saying, I was here. I loved. I created. And this is my gift to you. Every stitch, brush stroke, or cut of wood carries that message. Crafting as a legacy also bridges generations. When a grandchild asks about a handmade quilt or painting, it opens the door to telling stories, sharing family history, and building connections that might otherwise be lost. The craft becomes a symbol of family identity, something that binds everyone together. Ultimately, crafting as a legacy is about leaving behind more than objects. It's about leaving behind love, creativity, and memories. Each handmade item is a testament to the life we lived and the joy we found in creating. Long after the tools are put away, the legacy remains, carried forward in the hands and hearts of those we leave behind. One of the greatest misconceptions about aging is the idea that our ability to learn diminishes over time. The truth is, learning is a lifelong gift, and our senior years can be one of the most rewarding times to pick up new skills. Crafting and DIY projects give us a chance to prove that it's never too late to try something new, and the joy of discovery doesn't fade with age. I remember when I first tried watercolor painting in my 70s. At first, the brush felt foreign in my hand, and my colors ran together in ways I didn't expect. But instead of frustration, I found laughter and curiosity. Each attempt taught me something new, and before long, I was creating little pieces that brought me immense pride. The experience showed me that learning isn't about perfection. It's about embracing the journey. Trying new crafts keeps the mind active and engaged. Learning crochet patterns, mastering a wood carving technique, or even experimenting with digital art challenges the brain to form new connections. Scientists tell us this can help maintain memory and focus, but from personal experience, I can say it also brings a spark of excitement back into daily life. One of the most empowering feelings is discovering that we're still capable of growth. Age may bring slower hands or weaker eyesight, but it also brings patience, resilience, and perspective. These qualities often make us better learners now than when we were younger. We know how to laugh at mistakes, take our time, and savor progress. Learning new skills also gives us stories to share. Telling a grandchild, "I just started learning how to knit," or showing a friend a first attempt at pottery becomes a source of conversation and inspiration. People admire the courage it takes to try something new, and our example reminds others that growth doesn't stop, no matter the number of candles on the birthday cake. Sometimes, learning a new craft even awakens hidden talents. Many seniors discover a love for painting, writing, or jewelry making later in life that they never had time to explore before. What begins as a curiosity can blossom into a passion that fills days with creativity and meaning. The process of learning also teaches humility. We're reminded that it's okay to be beginners again, to not know all the answers, and to lean on others for guidance. That humility builds connections, whether it's joining a class at a community center or watching tutorials online. The act of learning creates bonds with teachers, fellow learners, and even future generations. Technology has made it easier than ever to learn. Online videos, digital classes, and crafting forums open the door to countless opportunities. I've met seniors who learned woodworking from YouTube or picked up new sewing techniques through virtual workshops. The world of knowledge is at our fingertips, and all we need is curiosity. Each new skill also becomes a tool for self-expression. Even if the results are simple, they carry our personality, taste, and spirit. A painted vase or crocheted scarf might not be flawless, but it's uniquely ours. And the pride in showing others something we've learned is a joy that never grows old. Ultimately, learning new skills at any age is about embracing life's endless possibilities. It reminds us that growth is not reserved for the young, it belongs to everyone at every stage of life. Every new project we take on is a declaration that we are still curious, still capable, and still eager to create beauty in the world. One of the best things about crafting is that it doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, some of the most creative and rewarding projects come from finding ways to make do with what we already have. For seniors especially, crafting on a budget keeps the hobby enjoyable and stress-free, without putting pressure on our finances. Creativity often shines brightest when we work within limitations. Dollar stores, thrift shops, and garage sales are treasure troves for crafting supplies. A bag of buttons, a stack of old magazines, or a basket of fabric scraps can inspire countless projects. I once found a box of old picture frames for $1 each, and with a little paint and imagination, they became charming gifts for my grandchildren. The joy of the find is almost as fun as the crafting itself. Recycling and repurposing materials is another powerful way to save money. An old sweater can be unraveled into yarn for knitting, glass jars can become storage containers, and tin cans can be turned into planters. Every time I give an object a new life, I feel a sense of resourcefulness that connects me to a simpler, more sustainable way of living. Nature also provides free supplies for those willing to look. Pine cones, shells, stones, and twigs can all be transformed into beautiful decorations or functional items. I once made a wreath entirely from fallen branches and pine cones gathered on a walk, and it became a centerpiece of my home during the holidays. There's something special about crafting with materials gifted by the earth. Budget-friendly crafting also encourages collaboration. Sharing supplies with friends or starting a small craft swap in the neighborhood allows everyone to save money while trying new materials. I've exchanged leftover yarn for beads, and both of us ended up with exactly what we needed for our next projects. It's an economical approach that also builds community. Many projects can also be done with just basic tools and simple supplies. Paper crafts, origami, or homemade greeting cards require little more than scissors, glue, and creativity. These low-cost activities are especially enjoyable because they remind us that crafting is about imagination, not the price tag of materials. For those who like sewing or quilting, using fabric remnants can be a wonderful option. Fabric stores often sell end pieces at a fraction of the cost, and with a little creativity, these mismatched scraps come together in colorful, unique designs. A quilt made this way isn't just affordable. It's a patchwork of resourcefulness and charm. Digital resources can also help save money. Instead of buying expensive pattern books, many free templates, tutorials, and instructions are available online. With just a bit of searching, you can find step-by-step guides for nearly any project imaginable. The internet has become a free classroom for crafters everywhere. The act of creating on a budget also carries a deeper sense of pride. Knowing that something beautiful came from materials others might throw away makes the finished project feel even more special. It's proof that art doesn't require wealth, just imagination, patience, and heart. Ultimately, crafting on a budget reminds us that joy doesn't come from how much we spend but from the process of creating itself. With a little resourcefulness and creativity, every senior can enjoy the benefits of crafting without worrying about cost. The treasures we make with simple materials often carry more meaning than anything money could buy. At the heart of crafting and DIY lies something much deeper than the objects we create, a sense of fulfillment. In later life, when routines slow down and some responsibilities fade, many of us search for activities that bring meaning to our days. Crafting fills that space beautifully, giving us both purpose and joy. Fulfillment often comes from the simple act of making something with our own hands. There's a unique pride in looking at a finished project and thinking, I made that. Whether it's a knitted blanket, a wooden shelf, or a handmade card, each creation is a reminder of our ability to contribute something valuable and tangible to the world. DIY projects also bring a rhythm to daily life. Having a project to work on gives us a reason to get up in the morning, to look forward to the day. Even if it's just spending an hour stitching or sanding, that time is purposeful. It turns idle moments into meaningful ones, replacing emptiness with creation. For many seniors, crafting fulfills the need for self-expression. We may not always have the words to capture our feelings, but through colors, textures, and designs, we can express who we are. A painted canvas or a quilt pattern becomes a reflection of our personality, our history, and even our dreams. There's also fulfillment in the way DIY projects connect us to others. Giving a handmade gift carries more than material value. It carries love, time, and intention. The smile on a grandchild's face when they receive a handmade toy or the gratitude of a friend gifted a homemade scarf is worth more than gold. In those moments, crafting becomes a way of spreading joy. Another source of fulfillment is the opportunity to continue growing. Each new skill learned, each new project completed, reminds us that life still holds endless opportunities. It proves that aging doesn't mean stopping. It means evolving, learning, and embracing new experiences with open hands. Crafting also offers a sense of healing. In times of grief or loneliness, the steady rhythm of a project can bring comfort. Pouring energy into creating something helps ease the ache of loss and gives emotions a safe place to rest. Fulfillment comes not only from the final product but also from the peace found along the way. There's fulfillment, too, in knowing that our creativity can outlive us. The projects we leave behind, quilts, paintings, carvings, or scrapbooks, become part of our legacy. They remind future generations not only of our skills but also of our love and presence. Every handmade item whispers, I was here and I cared. Even the smallest projects can bring immense satisfaction. A crocheted coaster, a decorated jar, or a handmade bookmark may seem simple, but they represent time spent with intention. Each one is a symbol of living fully, of choosing to create beauty in the world rather than simply watching time pass. Ultimately, fulfillment through DIY is about living with purpose. It's about finding joy in creation, comfort in expression, and connection through sharing. For seniors, crafting isn't just a hobby, it's a way of filling life with meaning, one project at a time. And that, perhaps, is the greatest gift of all.